Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in. Hunt and Hill on a Thursday. Holding down the middle of the day, as they say in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. Right here in downtown Baton Rouge. I am Hunt Palmer with you from 12 to 2 today. Loaded up. It's starting to feel like football. I think something last night we did the Tiger Zone, Jeremy and I, 8 to 10. We'll be there every single Wednesday following the Coach O show. And hearing the Coach O show, hearing Chris and Blair and Coach, and then hearing the crowd, and everybody's kind of getting there. Like, it's week 0. I get it. So we're not quite there, but it feels close. And man, let me just tell you, I'm ready, because talking about practice is just about over. We've been on the air for 3 weeks. It's what we've been chatting about, and we're going to do a little bit more of it today. But we're getting there. And yesterday kind of felt like we were inching in the right direction. For those that tuned into the Tiger Zone, we had callers, had a great interaction in the YouTube chat. We really appreciate all of that and hope that you'll continue to join us on Wednesdays after the Coach O show. As for the next 2 hours, we'll talk a little bit of Saints here at 12:15. Russell Shepard, former Great Tiger, is going to join us at 12:30. He's got an unbelievable story, from his recruiting story to his journey through the positions at LSU, where I will tell you his career was better than you think if you look at his impact. No, was it the number one player in the nation playing quarterback leading LSU to national championships? No, it wasn't. But did he make some plays as wide receiver on one of the best teams in the history of the school? Yeah, he did. And then he went on and excelled in the NFL. And so I want to hear his story, from going to the top of the mountain to kind of finding his way to being on that great team and then having that loss. And then I watched him do DB drills at Pro Day. It didn't go very well, but I watched him do DB drills at Pro Day. And then he showed up and played in the NFL for a long time. So I can't wait to have Shep on bottom of this hour. Top of hour number 2. It is Thursday. That means it's Throwback Thursday. If you were with us 2 Thursdays ago, I wasn't here last Thursday, but 2 Thursdays ago, we debuted that segment, took a deep dive into the 2000 LSU-Tennessee game. We will do that again at 1 o'clock. I thought about whether or not, do I actually give the game away? Do I tweet about that? I think I'm just going to let y'all wait and see, but it was a wild one for the LSU Fighting Tigers, so can't wait to get into that at 1 o'clock. Justin Vincent is going to join the show in the second hour. Then we'll have some take it or leave it to wrap things up. Jeremy will be here very shortly, and the two of us will kick it around a little bit. But I want to start today by talking about some of the takeaways from the Coach O show. I've hosted that show a couple of times. I listened to it time to time, certainly did last night, and will moving forward as we are the Tiger Zone after it. It's generally not my favorite piece of radio content of all the podcasts, radio shows, whatever, webcasts I consume, because I don't necessarily love the ability for Joe Fan to have a couple of pops and call in and tell the coach what he needs to do. That's not my favorite thing to listen to. Certainly not the case before the game kicks off, but sometimes after a loss, it can get a little hairy. And honestly, Coach O, like Les before him, and Nick, when you hear his call-ins, they don't tell you a ton. But I think there are some things you can pick up if you know who you're listening to and you've listened to him long enough. I kind of picked up on Les's language when I covered him, and kind of could see through what generally was trying to be said. And I was the same way. And so for an hour, was it just grip of just the edge of your seat entertainment? No, it wasn't. But there were some things that he said that I took notes on, and we discussed them last night, but I want to get back into them today. And one of the things was Chris Blair was going through some of the position groups, and he asked about linebacker, and that's been a point that we've talked about a lot. And, look, here's the content of last night's show. Chris asked about every position, and Os listed every player at every position and said how great they were. That's basically what you got in a preview edition. We don't have a game to go back to look at. It's just, what does it look like at practice? So that's what you got. But I think when I heard his cadence and his order, it spoke to me just a little bit. And that's what I want to pull away. When Chris asked about linebackers, the first name that immediately came out of Ed Ogeron's mouth Damone Clark. And that's what we thought. And Damone's story is well documented. Obviously, strong player on the national championship team in spot duty. Started some games, reserved some games, but definitely a noticeable piece to that defense. And then last year struggled in Bo Pelini's defense and had his ups and downs. But he's wearing 18, and he's going to be right out there. So that was the first name that immediately came out of his mouth. The second name that came out of his mouth right after that was Jared Small. You've heard me talk about Jared Small now for 3 weeks. If you haven't seen him, you turn on the game against UCLA, you'll notice. He's smaller, but they love him. But I do think you can pull something from him going to those two guys immediately first. And I think Jared Small is a better fit maybe against UCLA than he is against Alabama. But I think that that's a guy who's going to play. And then he went to the next two that were pretty close in order. Micah Baskerville and Bug Strong. Baskerville, you know that story too. Came on and played a little bit in his freshman year, and it was too early, and he was kind of overmatched a little bit. But then, fast forward a couple of years, and last year, he really made a difference on the defense. It was so bad the first couple of games, and it wasn't great at the end, but he helped against the run. And I think that is a guy who's going to play a lot. I think he's going to play a ton against the physical teams in the league. Auburn is with Brian Harsin, the best running back in the league. 5 running back starters come back. That's a team that's going to run the football. I think that Baskerville makes a lot of sense there. A&M. That's not necessarily a new quarterback at the end of next year, but look, they got Spiller back there at running back who's really good. They're going to try to be physical with Jimbo Fisher and run the football and work the play actions and bootleg stuff. I think that works for Micah Baskerville. Same thing with Bug Strong. Physical, downhill, wants to play between the tackles, wants to make big physical hits. That's those two. And I'll tell you this, it took him a second after talking about those 4, immediately Damone Clark, immediately Jared Small, then followed that up with Micah Baskerville and Bug Strong, and then it took him a second to get to Mike Jones. And look, I've been out at practice, and you've listened to Mike Jones talk, and then you hear that answer that O gave yesterday, and you say, well, Mike Jones says that things are still really fast for him in there. He's the 5th guy out of Coach O's mouth. He's trying to make a transition from the outside to the inside. I think there's a long way to go there. Now, a long way is subjective. Can he get there in 4 weeks? Maybe. Is it something he can never do? I have no idea. I'm not a professional football talent scout. But it sounds like to me in a 4-2-5 where they're a nickel defense, they have a nickel back out there and then 2 stud corners, that the linebackers are going to be asked to be between the tackles a lot. Now, not as much against Mississippi State, but against Kentucky, A&M, Auburn, you know Alabama's going to run the football some. That the linebackers are going to play in the middle, and I wonder if Jones is going to be able to help there. Now, I think he can help a lot against Mississippi State. If you turn on the Clemson tape. It's not one size fits all here. Nobody has to play 100% of the snaps. Do what you can do. And it sounds like from hearing that from O that Mike Jones is a couple of notches south of where Damone Clark is, and even Jared Small, Baskerville, and Bug Strong. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but it's my opinion based on hearing the answer that Ed Ogeron gave on the Coach O show last night. Talked about special teams as well, and I heard a name that I have not heard in reference to this spot. So I took note of it. Say, who's the punter going to be? And everybody said Peyton Todd's going to be the punter. You had your years of Zach Von Rosenberg. He was excellent. He's moved on. Zach will join us tomorrow, by the way. He's moved on. And Peyton Todd was the number 1 punter in the country. You figure he's going to come in. He'll be your punter for 4 years. Said Avery Atkins is pushing for that spot. Do I think Avery Atkins is going to win the punter job? I don't. I think Peyton Todd is. But Peyton Todd's a freshman. Have we seen new punters step in and struggle with some nerves? You shank one out of bounds at the Rose Bowl. What's the next one look like? You drop a snap. Can you recover? This is the biggest stage you've ever been on. Is it okay to have an insurance policy there? I think it is. So it sounds like Avery Atkins is pushing for that. I thought Avery Atkins was on scholarship to come here from Auburn, Alabama for 4 years, put the ball on the tee, kick it 80 yards, and go sit on the sideline. That's what I thought his role was on this team. And he's been real good at it. And it may be his role for this year, and that's it. I would probably bet on that. But I was interested to hear that Avery Atkins is pushing for that a little bit. Now, does that mean he really is, or is Coach O just trying to make sure that Peyton Todd's engaged and there's some sort of competition? Look, I don't know. But it was something that caught my ear, and I wanted to bring it up that there may be a little competition at punter. So, again, I believe Peyton Todd will be out there on the first punt. Hopefully that's sometime middle of the fourth quarter against UCLA. And I, that's what I believe to be the case. But Avery Atkins pushing a little bit. And then he went to return guys. And Jeremy and I had a segment last week where we talked about special teams. I mentioned going out to practice, seeing the order of which guys were running through. And I can confirm, based on Ed Ogeron and what he said last night and what I saw at practice, the order was the same, which leads me to believe there's a little continuity there, and I think we know where we're headed on kickoff returns. And it excites me because I love the two guys they put back there. I've been pretty vocal. I want speed back there. I want home run hitting back there. It's not as crucial to be a sure-handed guy back there. You drop it, you may be in the end zone, you can take a knee on it, and if you drop it, you can pick it up, and Trey Palmer picked one up and ran it back for a touchdown last year. But so I want speed back there and playmaking. And he mentioned Trey Palmer first, Kayshon Boutte second. I love both those guys back there. Coy Moore third, and then interestingly, Armani Goodwin and Corey Kiner fourth and fifth. Those were the five names he mentioned when they were talking about the return game. So that's Palmer and Boutte were the first two guys I saw go through the drill off the jugs machine and go in to run kicks back. And I love both those guys doing that. They're both fast. They're both shifty. They've got the ability to make me a play and win me some field position. So what I saw and what Oach said, those are objective. That is what happened. Now, subjectively, my guess is that Trey Palmer is your leader to be a kickoff return man. And my guess is that Kayshon Boutte is going to go back there to catch punts. He's got great hands. He's got the ability to make a play, but I think they trust him to take a fair catch where he needs to and move the ball and have the offense come out there and move the ball down the field. That's my guess. But what I'll say is I'm excited about all of that, and I would be thrilled to see Armani Goodwin get a kickoff return against McNeese or Central Michigan or one of those teams early, just to see the speed out in the open field where I know he's going to get some open field. You can get him out there, and I think they'll probably block it up just fine, and he can make a play on a jet sweep or run it. But I know if he catches a kickoff, that dude's got some room to run. I want to see those jets turned on. So, again, I'm very happy with all of the mentions that he made in the return game last night on the Ed Ogeron show. So those are the biggest notes that I took away from that. Things can change in a week and a half, but right now I think it was noteworthy to hear. So the Ed Ogeron show you can catch on the LSU Sports Radio Network every single Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Jeremy and I follow from 8 to 10 on the Tiger Zone as we did last night. Had a blast. So Jeremy's going to be rolling in here pretty shortly. I want to take a quick timeout, get to some Saints talk. You don't want to miss Russell Shepard at the bottom of this hour. On the top of the 1 o'clock hour, it's Throwback Thursday. What game did I come up with for this week? It was a lot of fun to go into, and I think you'll enjoy it. That's at 1 o'clock. We'll take a timeout right now. It's Hunt and Hill.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Middle Relief, and after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Matter. Rebel Graphics, where you matter. Rebel Graphics with an X.
Hey y'all, it's Marty Smith. Join Ryan McGee. Hey, that's me. And me for Marty and McGee, Saturday mornings, 7, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
Coming up on a Thursday edition of Early Line, we look ahead to the weekend's action, including Week 0 in college football and the final weekend of preseason in the NFL. Join us from 2 to 3 p.m. Early Line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, Jeremy's here. Your hair looks good.
Oh man, I'm all over the place right now. it's good to be back in the studio, man. But I gotta tell everyone about the first time I was late in the NFL. This just reminded me of that situation.
Let me set this up here. I got a text from Jeremy a few minutes before the show. Said, "Man, I might miss the first segment. I'll be a little bit late." I said, "That's fine. I got a first segment planned. We'll be just fine." I didn't get any more details. I finished the first segment. He comes flying in here with stuff all in his hair and sweating bullets from running up the stairs. So now we're going to hear what has Jeremy Hill a little bit late here, and then what happened his first day in the NFL. His first time he was late in the NFL.
Yeah, so today I was getting my hair twisted. I had an appointment for 10 o'clock. Thought I had plenty of time to get here in time. It was 10 minutes away. She took forever. Still got shampoo in my head, as you can see on the YouTube chat. It was just a mess. So I was flying back here trying to get here on time. But the whole way here, I couldn't stop thinking about the one time I was late, my rookie year. We're playing Texans in Houston. Obviously, it's an early kickoff. We're used to the 1 p.m. kickoffs. It was a 12 o'clock kickoff. For some crazy reason, my iPhone wasn't on the automatic update. So we had the buses left at 9:30. I got down there probably at 9:30 for breakfast, thinking I had an hour to roll. I literally watched the buses drive off to the game, and I'm the only player left at the team hotel. So my next step, I ordered an Uber to NRG Stadium. The Uber took about
in Houston.
Yeah, the Uber took about 5 minutes to get there. So I roll up to the stadium. Security's like freaking out, having a heart attack. I'm like, dude, I'm the starting running back from the Bengals. Y'all better let me in this building. So they let me in the building. I walked through. Marvin Lewis like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm sorry, man. My clock was wrong. He's like, you're not starting today. It's just, you better be lucky that you're going to play. So it's crazy. This reminded me so much of that. So hopefully I don't pull this move again.
Did you tell the Uber driver to put the lead to the metal?
Oh yeah. We were cruising down I-10, man. We got there probably in 10 minutes. We were cruising.
Now, you played for Bill Belichick. How would that conversation have gone with him?
Jeremy, you know that roster spot you're taking up? You probably don't have that anymore. That's probably how that would have went.
Well, I'm not like either one of them. I'm fine. You're fine. Just don't do it every day. But, one time, we'll live. All right, we wanted to talk a little Saints in this segment. Russell Shepard's coming up, so we'll be pretty brief. I was trying to, you know what? Let's talk about the injuries, and then we'll save this segment about the Saints and why I think it's reasonable to discuss winning the division. Reasonable to discuss winning the division. We'll do that after Russell Shepard. But they did get some reasonable news on some injuries yesterday with Nick Vannett and Adam Troutman. Not super serious. Should be back within the month, hopefully as quickly as 2 weeks. Troutman is fascinating to me because he's got such a great skill set. I think it was a great find for them. And he just didn't have the time to get his feet under him last year to become the impact player that he could be. He's now been in the league a year, gone through the offseason, and I think is a guy that Sean Payton will know how to use once they get him into the fold. And obviously losing some time here with an injury that looked a lot more serious than it was when they took him off the field on a cart. It looks like I think he's a guy that potentially coming back in week 2, week 3, I think he can help.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the tight end position for the Saints is probably their weakest position on the offensive line. So you definitely need everybody that you can get going out there and contributing to that offense. Obviously, we saw how Drew Brees utilized the tight ends in that offense. They scored a lot of touchdowns with Drew Brees in my memory. So you're going to need Vannett and you're going to need Troutman out there at some point because Juwan really isn't a true natural tight end. So you want guys who have experience at that position, and those two guys do.
Now, I don't know what this means, but the guys who have been out there at practice, gals that have been out there at practice, have been impressed with Juwan Johnson. Now, right, you said he's not the prototypical guy, but I've never seen anyone in the league more adept at using guys who don't quite fit the mold than what Sean Payton can do. I mean, Taysom's obviously the most obvious for what he's done there, but he's used Deontay Harris, who's kind of scat back to do some crazy things, and he's found a basketball player in Jimmy Graham to become an elite tight end. He's used some guys who weren't necessarily right out of the mold to become really good players. I mean, look, nobody had Alvin Kamara as the best running back in the league, and he was an all-pro coming out of Tennessee where he didn't get the ball that much and was kind of looked more as a third down back. So I trust that they can get Juwan Johnson involved, and it's not necessarily ideal, but I think if anybody can do it, he could do it.
Yeah, he definitely can. And I like Juwan. I think he's had a great preseason. He's flashed to me at least. I thought he had no business playing the tight end position, but Sean Payton has done a phenomenal job really getting him in that position and really, being that flex threat, that matchup problem, kind of like Jake for the LSU Tigers will be a matchup problem for linebackers and safeties, and Sean Payton is the best at drawing up those matchups.
It's a knee injury for Nick Vannett. Went in for an MRI. 2 to 4 weeks again as a result of that injury. Look, I think Troutman's a better player than Vannett, but certainly you don't want to lose two guys at the same position in one. Do you expect the Saints to go out there and find somebody here, or is it just Juwan Johnson and we'll get Troutman and Vannett back in a month and we'll move forward?
Yeah, I don't know if they really make the moves. I thought the Saints would be a lot more active that way, but I don't really think so at this point of the preseason that they're going to add any more tight ends to the roster. I think they let those guys heal up as fast as they can, and I think they roll with what they have.
The Ken Crowley news is disappointing because, look, I think if you would have said he was going to go down 7 weeks ago, everybody like, well, he's not any good anyway. But then he comes out, and that's a fan's perspective, but that's what you would get from the fan base. That's certainly not what the Saints would say. But you look at what he's done in camp and then in the preseason, clearly a lot of playing time was headed his way. That still can be there when he comes back, but to have him go down and miss some time in the regular season is a huge bummer for the Saints.
Yeah, that's a huge blow, and especially knowing that Lattimore, we don't know how much he's going to miss.
That's the thing, that they're hanging in the balance on this, and you can't do anything when you don't know what's coming. Feels like Ole Miss football for a bunch of years.
Yeah, definitely. You don't know what to expect. I think if you knew Lattimore was only going to miss 2 games, and like you have a sigh of relief, like, okay, we can manage that. But if it's 6 or more, then you're in trouble because you really don't know who the guys are going to be. I think some of the younger guys, you know what you're going to get from C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Also, the rookie from Stanford, I think he can –
Paulson
Adebo. I think he can contribute early on as well. He's played a lot better than I thought he would be to this point. So, Ken needs to come back soon as possible, definitely with Lattimore coming out.
It's just the elephant in the room is they open with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if you were opening with the Panthers and it was Darnold or the Texans who are just going to be a disaster, you would say, oh, that's okay. So that's the thing with college football. You get a 2-game suspension and you've got 2 in-state schools that are collecting a check and getting on down the road, you're fine. But if you got Aaron Rodgers coming to town and you got your 2 starting cornerbacks or 2 of your top 3 cornerbacks out, not great.
Yeah, that's not a good look. And I know Aaron, especially after the offseason he's had, he's going to be eager to, prove that narrative that he still has it and that he's still an MVP candidate. So he's going to be hungry for passing yards coming into that first game, and the Saints are going to have their hands full. So I think they definitely I don't know if it's, too late in the game to make another move at corner. I think once they kind of figure out how long Lattimore is out, I think they can kind of know what they need to do as far as roster-wise. But that's definitely a big hole in the Saints defense.
Would have been nice if Aaron would have just decided to go hang out with Shailene Woodley and quit playing football, and Jordan Love was coming in to play the Saints in game number 1, but not so fortunate for the Hoodats. More Saints talk at the end of this hour. I'm going to make the case why I wouldn't pick the Saints to win the division, but it's not a crazy thought. But let's take a timeout. Former Tiger and NFL veteran Russell Shepard will join the show. It's Hunt and Hill.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. To learn more, visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
Furnished by the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with the right parts, advice from our parts professionals, and our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask about our free loaner tool program or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, it's Dory Noka. Join me and Mel Kiper Jr. for Dory and Mel Saturday mornings at 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies know who Peyton Murphy is and know he will fight for maximum value for your injury. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We'll talk LSU, USC, and football 2024, and the Fantasy Blitz returns. Join us, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field here, Hunt and Hill on a Thursday. Our pleasure to be joined now by former Tiger and NFL veteran Russell Shepard. Shep, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Thanks for having me, fellas.
It is our pleasure. We've got a lot of things that we want to talk to you about. I guess we'll kind of go in chronological order. Talk to me. You became a huge recruit, kind of a little bit after recruiting became a huge deal with highlight tapes and Under Armour All-American games and guys pulling hats and jumping out of airplanes, and you were among the top players in your class. What is that like for a 17-year-old to be put in that kind of spotlight?
You know, it was a good situation. Like you said, I was, the first, I would say, because obviously just my era in general, the internet, social media, MySpace, things of that nature. We were kind of the first to do that. So, having the exposure and getting attention from people that I've never met in my life, it was a unique thing. But, the good thing about me is I had a good team around me, being my mom, my dad, and I was in a good school system, a good area. So I was able to kind of, stay focused. But to be honest with you, just to answer the question directly, I've experienced from the NFL to college to high school ball. I mean, the craziest stories probably come from high school recruiting.
Tell me one. what were folks saying?
He said, "Tell me one." Some things, man. Obviously you live to not tell. But just in general, for example, with the MySpace, me being able to, share my experience and, being a 16, 17-year-old kid and putting hats on my MySpace and seeing people react to it. I mean, that was something that, nobody has ever seen. I never experienced. My parents didn't know really how to properly just advise me all the time with that. So, little things like that, that's what I would say about the crazy stories. And, once you get to college football, you expect the crazy games. You expect the people running to you crazy and do it. But for me to experience that as a high school kid and having these ESPN games and things like that was different for me.
So you're the top of the mountain in terms of recruiting. Then you come to LSU, and obviously you start the spring as a quarterback. You play in the spring game. Then there's some moving around to running back, wide receiver. What was your communication like with the staff, the conversations you had about what your role was going to eventually be at LSU?
Well, with me, any place I went, it was always the option that I was going to play another position. I was an athlete. obviously I had a lot of success at the quarterback position in my high school years, but I just felt like LSU kind of fit all the things I needed. Obviously the agreement when I went to school was, we start you off at this at quarterback, and we just see how it goes from there, and that was enough for me. So, midway through, my freshman year, to be honest with you, it was kind of a decision that I made. The staff and Coach Miles, they're really, they willing to commit to me at the position for at least another year or so. And they'll tell me 2 years, but I know I probably had a year to get it together and to crack the depth chart before they try to throw me in other positions. But midway through the season, I kind of threw it out there, Coach, I'm open to play anything. I just want to get on the field. I got a good feel that was Jordan Jefferson's team, probably, by the end of spring and, midway through fall camp. So, like I said, I told him that once mid-season, then I brought it up to him again when we were heading to Orlando to play, I believe, Penn State in the bowl game. And I say, Coach, I want to be a full-time, receiver. I want to be Percy Harvin. I want to be that type of guy. And from that point on, man, he just made the switch. But it definitely was me being aggressive with it. And, they weren't going to fight me with it because I think ideally they thought I was best suited in the skill position anyway.
So, Russ, when I think of LSU ambassadors, your name is the first one that comes to mind. If you had to put a number, on it, how many NFL guys that went to LSU you think you took on unofficial visits?
Man, I had a lot, man. So, that's probably where, the biggest thing with me come in. I was a good athlete, especially in my area, even when I got amongst, the school, and by the time I was a junior senior, we had Hugh Hill, we had Patrick Peterson at one point, we had Tyrann Mathieu, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Michael Brockers, Barkey. I mean, the list goes on, but I would say, man, if I had, at one point, man, my freshman year, I was getting down there 80% of the guys. I was recruiting them. I was taking them out, and it became a thing with me. I enjoyed it. I embraced the role. Me being a young guy, I wasn't really in a starting position, so I had a lot of time to focus on some other things. But, man, I've hosted them all from, Tyrann Mathieu, hosted you, hosted Lyle, I hosted Odell, I've hosted Jarvis, I've hosted damn near everybody, man, so it was a great experience, and I'm really grateful that Coach Miles and Larry Porter, as well as Frank Wilson, they really gave me a role, and they embraced me in that role. And, I knew I was a good ball player. They knew I played, good ball, but I just wanted to get the most talent to our spot so we can have the best team ever, and they allowed me, man.
So one moment, one game, when did you score that touchdown or feel that moment like, man, this is why I came to LSU?
It was my first touchdown of my career. It was the Auburn game. I was playing your position. So I was at the running back position. I didn't. It was Jordan's team. When I got there, when we started the season, my freshman year, but I was still good with the ball in my hands, and me being a kind of a zone read quarterback, the running gun, the best skill set I really had was just put the ball in his hands and let him go. So the running back position was a natural fit for me. So, probably the second or third game through my freshman year, man, they put me in, and towards the end of the game, it was an inside zone, and, I'm 182 pounds probably running inside zone against Auburn. It probably got 3 first-round picks on the defense side. But, man, Will Blackwell had a good kickoff block. I sprung off T-Bob, and, man, I went 60-plus. And, man, that was the feeling. I ran straight to the student section, man. And, still to this day, man, that was, my reason here. You know what I'm saying? You asked the question, and I know exactly what you're saying, because that day forward, I was like, man, this is the place, I wanted to be.
I was in that student section and it fired everybody up in there. That was a heck of a moment. Right. Russell Shepard joining us here on Hunt and Hill. All right, I've watched LSU teams, and up until 19, had never seen a team toy with people like the 11 team did. How much fun did y'all have throughout that regular season?
No, it was real fun, man. That was the thing about the the team that won, the 2020 team, Joe Barrow and them, and Chase and Justin. They I met with Jack. I was in New York. I was with the Giants that year, and Jack Marucci. Every now and then he makes his rounds to different NFL training rooms, and he does his visits, and he's a legend in that field. So regardless of college, it's NFL. When you hear about Jack Marucci, you stop and you give it attention. So he came to New York, and we was talking about that team, and he was saying, man, that this is probably not one of the most talented teams that we've ever had. This team is just, they're good guys. They work good together, and I think we got a chance. And those are the teams that they just kind of come out of nowhere and they gel well, and they're able to do that. Well, that team that you're talking about that I was on, we expected to win every game. There was no good ball. We were bad boys. We wanted to bang. You had the young Tyron Matthews of the world. You had the Ron Brooks of the world. You had the Brandon Taylors. I mean, the list goes on, and you can start naming even from a defensive standpoint. We had young linebackers, you know what I'm saying, and Quan Alexander wasn't even playing. Debo wasn't even playing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just the list goes on, the type of guys that we had, and they were violent, they were physical, they were confident, and, there was only one team that, that stood toe-to-toe with us, and, I mean, the rest of the story, but I embraced it, man. I loved it. It was a great experience, and still to this day, I've never played with a team like that.
All right, this is a question that LSU fans pondered for 4 years, and I'm going to get the answer for it right now. Was there a play in the playbook for you to throw a pass?
There was plays throughout the time. It was things that we scripted and we did in practice, especially early on in my career. Coming off the type of hype I had. But we were a run first team. We were a team. We didn't really even get to open up and spread it up until about my senior year, when Zach Menberg and we had Jay Hill, a young Jay Hill, and we kind of adopted more of a pro style of setting. So, with Coach Miles, he's a safe play caller. He's going to physically beat you up, and then he believes that as we physically beat you up, we're mentally going to beat you down. And he wasn't with the trick stuff. So my play was never high on the list, and Coach Miles is all about winning. So never just worked out like that.
All right, Russ, tell me about being a guy that wasn't highly drafted, and tell me what it took to really pull off a 7-year career and being on those rosters and making plays and scoring touchdowns.
Hill, it was a good experience, man, because, it was a humbling experience for me, going from being this high school recruit. I played more in my first 2 years of my LSU career than I played my last 2. So, by the time the NFL opportunity came around and I wasn't drafted, and I just wanted to get in any way I can. So like as when you're an undrafted guy, and when you're just any guy in the league as a rookie, that's screaming special teams. And we had credit Thomas McGahee. He coached me for 2 years at LSU. While I was there, he a friend of my mom in high school. He's Estonian. So he always was somebody that kind of was a mentor to me, and he always preached special teams. And like Shep, you don't have to catch a ball, and you still can have a successful career. And hearing things like that replay in my mind throughout the years from Thomas McGahee, and then having opportunity and hearing coaches say in the league, teams is how I made it. So like you said, man, throughout a 7-year, I was able to adapt and become, went from being a skilled guy to a tackler. I think I still to this day have more tackles than I have NFL catches probably. I don't know. But, becoming a guy of jack of all trades and, special team guy, and then becoming a dependable, a consistent receiver, being a leader within the locker room. My last probably, 2 or 3 years, and probably I still couldn't be playing today, squeeze another year or two just off of just pure relationships and leadership. I was about what I said. I did what I was about, and teams, organizations, they allowed me to stick around and make it year after year because of without the kind of the grit and everything I kind of put out there, and they just loved it.
So talk about life after football, and tell me if you got any businesses going on or anything fans can follow and check up on you on.
Right. are. So, man, like I told you not too long ago, I recently I retired last year. Last year would have been my 8th year. This would have been my 9th year, but my retirement came kind of abrupt, came out of nowhere because I started a waste management company. So I have Shep Boys Waste Management. We are, rental providers of portable toilets, hand wash stations, holding tanks. We also transport waste, whether it's human waste, it's grease, septic. We also rental providers of water tanks ranging from 200 gallons to up to 5,000 gallons. So we do a little bit of everything, man. We currently have the fastest growing waste startup in the city of Houston. And we're doing some good things, and it just kind of took off, man. Corona, people saying, sanitation, all that, it just heightened with Corona. So the business grew so fast within the first 6 months. I had to make a decision and, kind of force early retirement.
That's awesome, Shep, man. This has been a ton of fun. We appreciate you telling some stories with us, hanging out, and we'll do it again soon. Thanks.
I appreciate you, fellas.
That's Russell Shepard. Some really awesome stuff there from a former Tiger, guy with a long NFL career, and now making things happen in the real world. That's some awesome stuff. I really enjoyed some of the answers he gave there, from the recruiting visits to the taking a back seat his last couple of years to getting told that he could make more tackles and make catches in the NFL. And that stuff's awesome. We see what guys do on the field, and there are people that say things about Russell Shepard all the time because he was such a highly thought of recruit and wasn't the best player on LSU's offense, but he did help that awesome team in 11 by making some plays, and then certainly had made his way in the NFL. That was really good. I appreciate you setting that up and very much enjoyed it. Let's take one more time out, come back and close out number 1, Hunt and Hill.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, As I always told my boys,
Do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I-10. Now that's scary. AGCO Automotive is here with the best way to keep up with car maintenance. Get our annual general inspection. You pick the month, we check out your vehicle and recommend any maintenance you may need, which can save you costly repairs down the road.
That was a freaky dream. Were you on medication or did you eat anything strange?
Yeah. I actually ate a whole bag of candy corn left over from Halloween. 2014.
Oh. Schedule your general inspection today at AGCO Automotive. AGCO, it's the place to go.
Hey, Baton Rouge, it's Peter Burns. Join me and Katie George every Sunday morning at 6 for Best Week Ever right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Brandon Holly here. Does your HOA require wood windows? ReliefWindows.com.
Game Time presented by Bet Rivers from Red Stick Social on Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. Handy will be filling in for me. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Awesome stuff from Russell Shepard in the last segment. If you missed it, it'll be on demand, 104.5ESPN.com on the YouTube chat. And he said so many things that piqued my interest. You never know where an interview is going to go when you start it, but that one went places that I wasn't sure. And it was the first thing was the question you asked him about being an ambassador to LSU and hosting so many official visits. That's something that you can drop a pass on third down, maybe fumble, you miss a tackle, that things go wrong on the field that make fans like upset. Not that matter, but that's something that happens. They don't ever see the fact that you're hosting Jeremy Hill, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beck. You're hosting all these guys and helping recruit them into LSU. He was always incredibly well spoken when he was in high school, when I covered him when he was a young player, and obviously a guy who was great at building relationships. He talked about being able to go back in the NFL. What was he like as a host?
Yeah, I call him the ambassador for LSU football. That's the thing that I'm going to go to sleep old and gray and remember. Russell Shepard was such a huge part of all those early recruiting classes between the time he was a senior in high school helping people get in that class until he left LSU. Like I said, I can't fathom the amount of actual guys who made it to the NFL that Russell hosted, and it was a huge part in their decision to come to LSU. Just a super humble, for a guy to be the number one player in the country. Normally, those guys have a little ego to them, have a little attitude to them, but Russell was just such a humble dude, so welcoming, so loving, would give you the shirt off his back, and was just so helpful to so many recruits. So that's why, I'll definitely shout out Russ every chance I get, because he was a definitely big part of me coming to LSU. He's one of the first players that I got a relationship to have with on the team as a high school recruit, and that just lasted a lifetime. So definitely Russell, one of the great ambassadors.
And the mental gymnastics he's got to perform to come here, play a spring as a quarterback. He says he thinks it's Jordan Jefferson's team. All right, coach, I'm going to go play wide receiver. And people go, well, he just never panned out as a wide receiver. They had Reuben Randall, and they had Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. Well, he scored 2 touchdowns in the North Carolina game that came down to the last play. In the 2010 Alabama game, which was a barn burner in Tiger Stadium, he ripped off a jet sweep and took it 60 for a huge play there. No, I mean, the Auburn game, he talked about make that big play that he makes as a running back. Like, he made a lot of explosive plays at LSU that no one ever really thinks about because they expected him to win the Heisman Trophy because of the YouTube videos they watched.
Yeah.
And it's not always about that. And then, like you said, to go on and have that NFL career, playing special teams basically, and as a third wide receiver, that tells you everything you need to know about him.
Yeah, to me, like I teed the question up for him, like, yeah, the first round picks, they're great, they're feel good stories, but to me, I get so much more out of the guys who are go undrafted, kind of like the James Wrights of the world, the Russell Shepards of the world, guys who aren't expected to make rosters but continue to fight every single day and do whatever they can to really help the team win football games and throw the ego to the side. Like he said, man, I would love to catch 100 passes in the season, but sometimes that just doesn't work out. You got to find other ways to help the team win football games. And like I said, Russell being the humble guy that he is, he embraced that. You saw that all throughout the end of his college career when he could have transferred possibly, but he stuck around, stayed with the Tigers, and also throughout his NFL career, just playing on special teams, being the number one player in the country, and really just embracing that role. He had a great NFL career as well.
And for those who have been wondering, the answer has finally been given. After 10 years, there was a play in the playbook, maybe multiple,
Yeah.
For him to throw the football, he just never made the call, unfortunately. But it was there. So that was really cool to talk to Russell Shepard. I appreciate, again, you for setting that up. We've got a loaded second hour here. I'm really excited for it. Throwback Thursday is going to reappear here to start the second hour. Missed a week last week. I was out playing a little golf, but we're back in action. It's an unbelievable game from fairly near past that I had a ton of fun diving into. It was one of the wildest games ever played in Tiger Stadium for a ton of reasons. So can't wait to get to that here in the next segment. Justin Vincent's going to join us in the second hour, chat a little bit LSU football with JV. Then plenty to get to as well. I want to talk a little bit more Saints because I'm trying to make the case for them to win the division, but we'll keep running out of time in segments. But I think we can probably try to do that here in the second hour, probably at 1:30, and then we'll take it or leave it here at 1:45. So Jeremy's here. He's wiped the sweat off his brow. He's got it under control. We're between the buoys, and we appreciate Russell Shepard for jumping aboard here in hour number one. We'll take a time out here for the top of the hour, and when we come back, I'll leave you cliffhanging a little bit. It's a season opener from LSU lore, and one of the most ridiculous football games that has ever been played in LSU lore. Not maybe one that you think about all the time, but it certainly is one that I enjoyed getting back and rewatching. So that's next. We got Throwback Thursday to start hour two. Come back with us on Hunt and Hill.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Middle Relief, and after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yes, we do, Michelle. If you log on to AcuraBR.com, you'll be able to see all of our pre-owned vehicles, and the price you see on the site is the price you'll get. We care about making the car buying experience as easy on our customers as possible, which is why we offer the Favorite Group Fair price.
Acura Baton Rouge, located on Airline Highway just south of Seguin, online at AcuraBR.com.
Louisiana Bayou Bistro is cooking with love. Delicious Cajun goodness for lunch, dinner, or family combo to-go meals with limited dine-in or curbside pickup. Call 225-749-6354.
At the Louisiana Bayou Bistro, when I get something with something else.
Most of my clients were referred to me by former clients. I'm even proud to say that some insurance adjusters secretly refer their friends and family. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
Offices in Baton Rouge.
104.5 WNXX Jackson, 104.9 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Jury at the bank down the vault. You should have never doubted me. I'ma work to my last breath.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, you know what time it is. It is the top of the hour. It is Thursday, and that means it's time to throw it back.
Throwback Thursday, presented by Accutemp, your AC and electrical experts.
Has the roll back to the near side, and he's going to throw it. Oh, it's going to be caught! Caught! Touchdown! Holy cow!
Hunt and Hill's Throwback Thursday.
Shout out to Accutemp for jumping on board for Throwback Thursday. It's time to go in the Wayback Machine. We'll do it every Thursday at 1 o'clock, and we'll go back to September the 4th, 2004. I'll set the scene for you. LSU is 9 months removed from its first national championship in 45 years. Nick Saban leading this team back on the field. He returns his coordinators Jimbo Fisher and Will Muschamp, as well as some huge pieces from a national championship team. Justin Vincent, coming off one of the best freshman seasons in LSU history with some Heisman buzz. Allie Broussard, a solid freshman campaign coming back. Skylar Green, just a sophomore in this team, scored a touchdown in the national championship game. Andrew Whitworth, ever heard of him? He's your left tackle. Ben Wilkerson, one of the best centers in college football. Nate Livings on the right tackle. You got Marcus Spears, Kyle Williams, Melvin Oliver, Lionel Turner, who had the big sack against Oklahoma in the national championship game. Cameron Vaughn, Corey Webster, and Travis Daniels, best corner duo in the country. LaRon Landry, Jesse Daniels at the safeties, maybe the best secondary in college football. Sound like a pretty salty squad to you, Jay Hill?
Oh, that was a stacked team. That was an NFL roster he was coaching.
Marcus Randall's time to take the reins as the quarterback. He had played kind of sparingly behind Matt Malk, most notably in 2002, 2 years earlier when Malk broke his foot in Gainesville. But after Malk broke his foot in Gainesville, the Tigers went 2-4 over Randall's 6 starts, and one of those wins was the Bluegrass Miracle. Randall was just a 48% passer that year. In 2003, he had played in some mop-up time, a lot in a blowout win over Arizona, but hadn't seen a ton of sustained time. But it was his team. I remember Canes had some stickers that people were wearing that said, "You can't handle Randall." It was his senior year. It was his time to take the reins of the team, but a 6'6", rocket-armed, redshirt freshman quarterback was waiting in the wings. More of that a little bit later. LSU was ranked number 3 in the nation preseason, and ESPN's College Game Day was welcomed to campus as LSU was defending its national championship. It was a scorching day in Baton Rouge, as you'd expect in early September. That concerned Oregon State, who's coming in from the Pacific Northwest, where it's like 50 degrees, to the point that they refused to wear dark jerseys on the road. Oregon State would wear white, and LSU would be forced out of its traditional home whites. A little gamesmanship there. Kickoff was set for 5:05. Oregon State arrived at Tiger Stadium a little bit after 3 o'clock. LSU student section was already full, and 3 Beaver players decided to go to the eye and do a little dancing, which did not make the LSU student section very happy. The teams warmed up, returned to their locker rooms, and LSU raised its national championship flag in the north end zone. People cried, people roared. It was a coronation of something that many people thought would never happen. The Golden Band from Tigerland took the field. They did the national anthem, pregame, and touchdown, and then they lined up on the hash marks to form the traditional tunnel that they do that the players run out of. And at that moment, about 10 minutes before kickoff was scheduled, the skies open up. It is a torrential downpour, Lightning is cracking all over the stadium, sending the band scurrying off the field. Fans headed for the tunnels, and for about 30 minutes, it was a biblical rain. Yes, it rained in Tiger Stadium. Rain slackened after about 30 minutes. Multiple streakers were running out on the field, turning it into a slip slide, getting mauled by cops. Crowds were roaring. It was a hysterical days of drunken, drenched humanity in Tiger Stadium pregame. But finally, the skies cleared. The field did not. It was a mud pit. But at 5:45, the defending national champions of LSU took the field. The vast majority of the crowd, not including my mom and sister, returned to their seats. They were out of there. Me and Dad stuck around. Some were in ponchos, some shirtless. It was an absolute mess, but it was time to play some football in 2004. Oregon State was led by head coach Mike Riley in his second year. His team was coming off an 8-5 season. Steven Jackson, who just set a school record for all-purpose yards in 2003, but he was drafted in the first round by the Rams. He was gone. Returning for Oregon State, big 6'6" senior quarterback Derek Anderson, who had started 26 consecutive games for the Beavers. It's time to play. Oregon State wins the toss and defers, so LSU's getting the football. Skylar Green goes back, nursing a high ankle sprain. He suffered in camp, but he was going to be the guy to return kicks for LSU. He returned 2 for scores in 2003, primed for a big sophomore season. He takes the kickoff at the 12, proceeds upfield in the mud pit, makes a cut, and is hit at the 23. The ball comes immediately out, and Oregon State falls on it. Had one play, a kickoff, and the Tigers have turned the football over. Puddles are sloshing. People are muddy. They're sliding all over the place, but the crowd is undeterred. They crank up the volume as Anderson and the Beavers take the field to play offense. On the first play, Oregon State's flagged for offensive pass interference. Second snap, false start. Third snap, delay of game. It's now first and 35, and the crowd is going nuts. Marcus Spears fired him up. It's first and 35, and Tiger Stadium's abuzz. From there, Oregon State throws 6 straight passes, completes 5 of them, the last one for a 6-yard touchdown, and it is 6-0 Oregon State before LSU can blink. Pending the extra point, it'll be 7-0. Out trots Alexis Cerna. You may have heard of him. Walk-on redshirt freshman kicker. He doinks it off the right upright. Sometimes kickers don't react a ton when they miss a kick. Cerna reacted a little violently to this when he puts his head in his hands, ducks his head towards his knees. He's upset, but it's 6-0 Beavers. So now LSU gets the ball, and Marcus Randall trots out for his first drive as the official starting quarterback. They run the ball up the middle for 1 yard, and then on his first pass of the season, he throws it directly into the chest of Oregon State's safety. It's an interception. LSU has run 2 offensive plays and taken a kickoff, and they've fumbled, and they've turned it over twice. So the LSU defense goes right back out, and Oregon State's got the ball at the 23-yard line, knocking on the door again. But the defense responds on second down. Anderson floats an ill-advised pass in the end zone. LaRon Landry darts over and snares it for an interception, and the defense thwarts that drive for OSU. LSU would take the ball and move it, but they would punt, and Oregon State would take over at their 14. This is where comedy hour sets in for the Oregon State offense. On their first snap, the running back drops the ball and falls on it. 2 plays later, on third down, they botch a handoff. It's on the deck. Glenn Dorsey, who's just a freshman, falls on it. First down, Tigers. The 4th turnover of the game, and they had another fumble, and we played 8.5 minutes. Nobody can hang on to the football. The Tigers fail to get a first down. They squander a 60-yard touchdown pass to Dwayne Bowe because it's a false start on Joe Adai, who's in the slot. I don't know what he was doing, but he moved too early, so a 60-yard pass to Bowe is negated. So LSU's got to try a 41-yard field goal that was set up by the fumble recovery, and Chris Jackson misses it by a mile. Way wide right and short. Oregon State's next drive, not any better for them. They throw an out route, and it hits Ronnie Prude right in the hands, but he can't catch it. It's too wet, and he drops it. That's on second down. Then on third down, Melvin Oliver, defensive lineman, has a chance at a pick 6, but he drops it. On fourth down, the Oregon State punter drops the snap because he can't catch it, and he does barely get it off, but it's a peewee football game at this point. No one can catch it. No one can hold it. No one can kick it. It's a mud pit out there, but it's 6-0 Oregon State. The next 6 offensive drives, 3 for each team, result in 5 punts and a total of 74 yards. And on the last of those 6 drives, Oregon State fumbles again. Marcus Spears comes flying off the edge, crushes Anderson, ball comes out, and LSU gets the ball at midfield with 4.5 minutes to play in the half. Finally, Justin Vincent gets loose, gets a 31-yard gain, and it's followed by a hold to back him up a little bit. But LSU's in the red zone. Got to settle for a field goal. 42 yards. Wide right. The crowd is a little bit anxious at this point. LSU's offense can't do anything. It's a mud pit. This is supposed to be the coronation of a championship team, and Oregon State's coming in here and taking it to LSU. Oregon State's first play following the missed field goal is a 49-yard run right through the LSU defense, and they have to settle for a 41-yard field goal. Cerna drills it right through the middle, and now Oregon State's got a 9-0 lead with 1:38 to play in the first half. LSU's offense takes the field again. 3 and out again, and Randall's 2 passes are not close. He's under some pressure. They're air-mailed. Guys are not open. LSU's offense is doing nothing. To this point at halftime, Marcus Randall is 5 of 15 for 39 yards and an interception. LSU's got 4 first downs. They're 0 of 8 on third down. The Boo Birds are a little bit out. The crowd is anxious as we go to halftime. Come out for the second half, and Oregon State takes the ball first. Jamarcus Russell is warming up, the big redshirt freshman who has not played a snap. Oregon State, surprise, surprise, goes 3 and out, and LSU takes over after a bad punt, and big number 4 at the time takes the field, and the crowd gets a jolt. Here comes the big strong-arm guy we've seen in warm-ups. He's a 4-star recruit. Now it's time to move the ball on offense. His first throws on second down, it's just about picked off. Oregon State just about picks it off. On third down, he's running for his life. He throws it into the middle of the field. It hits the turf in front of about nobody, and LSU's got a punt. So much for a shot of life from a backup quarterback. So guess what happens next? Oregon State gets the ball back and goes 3 and out and punts. But some offense is on the horizon. On Russell's second drive, he gets it going. Completes 3 in a row in the short passing game, 1 for LSU's first third down conversion, and then after that, he throws a seed over the middle to Joe Adai. The ball just looks different coming out of Jamarcus's hands. He's sitting back there confident. He's got the big arm, and it's apparent to the crowd that this guy's got a chance to be pretty good. And he caps this drive where the LSU offense gets going with one of his best throws.
And they need to take it to the 8.5-yard line. Jamarcus Russell from a shotgun. Here comes the blitz right up the middle. They pick it up, lobs the pass, and he's got it. Touchdown, Skylar Green.
It's a perfect touch pass to the corner on 3rd and 8, and Skylar Green hauls it in. LSU converts the extra point. It's 9-7 with 5 minutes and 41 seconds to play in the third quarter. To this point, Oregon State's last 12 drives have resulted in just 3 points, but they find some rhythm on offense. They march down and score a touchdown to cap a 9-play, 65-yard drive, and here comes Alexis Cerna again to add to the lead. Nope, he misses it again on the extra point. It's still 15-7, but Oregon State's mounted a drive. I hope you enjoyed that flurry of points to the listening audience, because the next 6 straight drives would result in punts or turnover on downs. But LSU gets the ball back with 6:28 to play in the fourth quarter, down 8 points. Jamarcus is still in the game. The Tigers take over at their own 48, so close to midfield, down 8. They run it 3 times, get a first down. Russell hits Bo for 14 yards down to the 41. Then a play, Russell's flushed out of the pocket and goes down with a cramp. It's a sauna down on the field, as you can imagine, in September when it's rained torrentially. And Jamarcus can't get up. They're trying to stretch him out. It's his right calf. He can't stand up. He can't continue. So Randall, who's been booed in his return to the field, comes out on the field with his helmet. And the first play he's out there, he floats it down the far sideline to Joe Adai, who's in single coverage. He comes back to it, 23-yard gain down to the 8-yard line. Keep in mind, LSU needs 8 points to tie. There's 3 minutes and 15 seconds to play, and Randall's out there. He runs for 2 yards to the 6. Got plenty of time to operate here. Second down, his pass is high and incomplete. Third down, Jimbo dials up a shovel pass from the 6-yard line to Joe Adai down to the 2 with 2 minutes and 52 seconds to play, and LSU calls timeout. Jamarcus has recovered. He's ready to go in for 4th down and goal from the 2, down 8 with 2:52 to play. He takes the snap, rolls left, and the Oregon State defense collapses on him near the goal line, and he's got a wide open man standing alone in the end zone, and Jamarcus flicks the ball over his head by about a foot. It falls to the turf, and the crowd just groans. Jamarcus is furious with himself. It was as easy as it could be. A flag football team completes that 9 out of 10 times, and Jamarcus just did not make the play. So it's a turnover on downs. LSU has 2 timeouts left, which they use on first and second down runs by Oregon State. 2 minutes, 29 seconds to play. Oregon State's got 3rd and 6 from their own 6-yard line. A first down, they win the ball game. Anderson drops to throw and hits Mike Hass, who would win a Biletnikoff later, for 4 yards. So LSU's defense holds. It's 4th and 2 from the 10. Oregon State punts it back to LSU. It's a good one. And with 1:38 to play, LSU has no timeouts, have the ball at their own 36, down 8. Russell's first 2 passes are incomplete. It's 3rd and 10 from the 36 with 1:23 to go. Russell drops and hits Dwayne Bowe streaking down the seam. He slips a man and runs it down to the 38-yard line. And the next play sounded just like this.
And we'll line up in a 4-receiver pattern, 2 on both sides. Russell in the shotgun with Justin Vincent back there. Now clock is running, 1:17 to go. Waiting on the snap, and there it is. Russell drops, looks, tosses it, complete to Bowe, 15, 10! He's at the 5 and he scores! 38-yard pass to Bowe right up the middle. Now the Tigers with a chance to go for 2 to tie this baby with 1:05 to go in the game. In the middle.
LSU goes 64 yards on 2 carbon copy plays to Dwayne Bowe, and they are now within 2 of Oregon State.
The Tigers got to go for 2 here with a chance to try to tie it. We'll set up in the shotgun, 4-receiver pattern. Russell got to hurry, man in motion. Here's the snap. He rolls to the near side, looks back to the far side. He's got a chance to run it in, and he does! We are tied at 15. Holy cow!
Jamarcus makes the play on his feet, diving into the end zone. The crowd goes nuts. LSU has tied the game, and we would go to overtime. Oregon State would win the toss, decide to play defense, so LSU goes down to the north end zone and takes the football. On the first drive, Russell's cramps return in the middle of the drive, and Randall's got to go back out there. So he comes in 2nd and goal from the 5. Jimbo dials up a QB draw, and Oregon State snuffs it out. But Randall puts a nifty little juke on the linebacker and walks into the end zone. The crowd is absolutely raucous. Randall's teammates mob him. He's gone from bench to making a play late to scoring the touchdown in overtime. And LSU sends out Chris Jackson for the extra point. He sneaks it just inside the uprights, and it goes through. So LSU has a 7-point lead. So Oregon State takes the ball. They need a touchdown and an extra point to tie the ball game. On 4th and 5 in overtime, Anderson floats a perfect over-the-top throw to the tight end at the goal line for a touchdown. And all they got to do is get the extra point to tie the score and send it to double overtime. But here comes Alexis.
Sherman with the extra point attempt, trying to send us to that second overtime. Ball is down. He missed it. I don't believe it. He missed the 3rd one, and LSU wins in overtime.
It was not even close. The freshman misses his 3rd extra point of the game by about 15 feet. He throws his helmet. He's inconsolable. And LSU has won the ball game in the most dramatic fashion of slip slides and thunderstorms and fumbles and interceptions and benchings and returns and freshmen and missed extra points. The Tigers are 1-0 against Oregon State. I was there that day. One of the most unbelievable performances I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a one for the ages right there. Just the back and forth, that 4th quarter, getting that big stop while they was backed up, and then just really having to drop for your life and really being able to get that done and also get the 2-point conversion. It seemed like everything that could go right went right in that 4th quarter, and obviously in overtime, missing that field goal is just nuts. You hate to see a team lose a game like that, but, definitely good for the Tigers. And I definitely remember that game, watching my cousin play quarterback. Not one of his best days, but, scoring that touchdown in overtime was big, and it really got the team back on his side.
And he would have moments later in that season, and he had moments in that game with the touchdown in overtime and the big throw late. Absolutely crazy football game in Baton Rouge. So we'll go to a guy who played in that game next. Justin Vincent joins us next on Hunt and Hill.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines, fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
To receive a 15% discount, call PODS today, 888-776-7637. That's 888-776-PODS. PODS, portable on-demand storage.
Hey, y'all, it's Marty Smith. Join Ryan McGee. Hey, that's me. And me for Marty and McGee, Saturday mornings, 7, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Never buying a truck from anywhere else. Great to work with.
ShopBuyU4.com.
Hey, it's Cade Wazan inviting you to join me, Coach Todd Black, and Coach Jimmy Roy this Friday night for the Lake After Hours Lake Urgent Care Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show. We'll be recapping area jamborees and catching up with some local coaches as well. It's this Friday night from 10 to midnight on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Throwback Thursday presented by AccuTemp. Just talking LSU, Oregon State from 2004. We'll bring on a man who was on the field that day, or the mud pit, as it were. Justin Vincent joins us. JV, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing very well. All right, just give me your memories of that day in Tiger Stadium. Coming off a national championship, pretty big-time opponent, game days there. You get warmed up, the worst rain we've ever seen, and the play kind of showed it after that.
Yeah, we actually had a little delay. It looked pretty bad out there. Mosh pit, the sun started shining a little bit, and as it got darker, it got really bad out there. But at the beginning, we thought it was just going to be awful to start.
Well, let's talk about I want to talk about Marcus Randall and his progression through his career at LSU, and it's his team. He goes out there, throws a pick, has a rough first half, gets benched for DeMarcus, and then they ask him to come back in, and he makes a couple of big plays, including a touchdown in overtime, and you could see on the videotape that the team just mobbed him when that happened. Obviously, an easy guy to root for and a guy who would make a lot of plays later on, but that's got to be a tough welcome to your starting role as a quarterback.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I remember vividly, we actually didn't score until like 5 minutes left in the third. Mm-hmm. It was like, I think it was 9-0 the whole way. Then Jamarcus dropped a dime to Skylar Green in the back of the end zone. And then Jamarcus ends up going out of the game with cramps, and Marcus Randall comes back in. And in overtime, I threw a block on a back. It was a quarterback draw. He ends up scoring a touchdown. Just that whole atmosphere and everybody rallying around both quarterbacks at the time, which people thought there was some controversy. Marcus Randall was a starter from get-go, but obviously Jamarcus ended up playing a huge role in that game as well.
So let me take you back to the year before. And I remember just being a running back my whole life and watching you in that national championship. That inspired me so much. Tell me about that experience and what was that like? Oh, man, it was kind of surreal to me, even till this day. I walk around. I work at LSU. I walk around campus. You see pictures, that team and myself and jerseys and all that. I never expected anybody who knows me. I thought I was going to play special teams the whole year. Then Joe and Sharon goes down, and I get the opportunity to go out there, and what everybody saw was a freshman running scared. I didn't want to get hit. I was had pretty decent speed back then. But yeah, man, it was just an amazing experience, especially play a national championship game in New Orleans, in your home state. So talk to me. You mentioned it a little bit. Talk to me about those stacked running back rooms you played in, and talk about just your journey, being low on the roster and finally getting your time to shine. Yeah, when I committed to come to LSU, you had Dominic Davis, LeBrandon Tofield, Sharon Carey, and Joseph Adai. And then, Dominic and LeBrandon step out. There's Joe, Sharon, myself, Allie Broussard, and Barrington Edwards. Barrington ended up transferring. It was Allie Broussard, myself, Charles Scott, Keelan Williams. And then the list goes on and on. It's just always been like that. People holler DBU, it's always been RBU. You go back and look at just the stuff that was put on tape between yourself, Terrence McGee, here comes, Leonard and the rest of the guys. It's just one of those things that we've always had competition in that room. It made us better. We all hung out together. Hell, me and Allie lived together. I tell kids all the time, I said, if you're looking at depth charts when you're picking out schools, then, college football probably isn't for you, because this day and age, everybody's going to have some dudes. It's either you have confidence in yourself to get the job done or you don't. JV, on this team, we got a couple of old dudes and a couple of young dudes. What do you make of this running back room? Ooh, I actually like this running back room, man. The young guys look special, man. I am really high on Ty Davis-Price. I love John Emery's running style, but I tell you what, Josh Williams, man, I walk on running back from Houston. I really like him. He showed a lot. Corey Kiner is doing his thing as well. So, I think this room has good leadership. Guys have been around the block a few times. They're on a national championship team, so they know what's expected and what needs to be done. Hopefully we can stay injury-free, but I look forward to watching these guys tote the field this year. JV, we really appreciate you jumping aboard. I know you're busy today, but we wanted to get some memories of that game back in 2004 and your perspective on this team. We really appreciate it. We'll do it again soon. Definitely, man. Thank you. That's Justin Vincent over there at LSU, Assistant Director of Player Personnel. One of the great seasons in LSU history as a freshman, came back in one of the most ridiculous games ever at LSU. Yeah. I do want to add that I noticed something that I didn't have time to get to in that segment, but that so Alexis Cerna, who missed those 3 extra points at Oregon State, would go on to win the Lou Groza Award later on, and is now on staff at Oregon State as the Director of Beyond Football. Director of Beyond Football. And you think about the story he has to tell. Hey, my first game, went down to Tiger Stadium against the defending national champions. My team played their butts off, and I missed 3 extra points.
I came back and responded to that and ended up winning the Groza Award later on in my career. That didn't always happen for you right out of the chute, but things can happen. I think director of Beyond Football, he's probably qualified for that.
Yeah, I think he deserves that job. After shanking all those field goals, I think that's a great way for the school to bounce him back a little bit. So, yeah, good for him for sure.
All right, we're going to take a time out here and come back and make the case for the Saints to win the NFC South. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
In the sunshine, everybody loves the sunshine.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
S.com/careers.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? Visit the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to get everything you need. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95 and earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil. On sale now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, it's Dorian Oka. Join me and Mel Kiper Jr. for Dorian Mel Saturday mornings at 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford makes the car buying experience super easy. Shop BayouFord.com.
Join us for our Friday edition of Off the Bench. Richard Dick Dixon comes in to co-host for the first 2 hours. Rivers Huey comes in for the last. And also the next OTB tier list. Join us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to Justin Vincent for hopping aboard. Another Throwback Thursday in the books presented by AccuTemp. If you want to check it out, it's on YouTube and will be on demand, 1045ESPN.com. Thanks to the production squad, Mike Patel, Taylor Sharp for helping me with that one. All right, let's move to some NFL here. Jay Hill, I'll let you do a little heavy lifting, but I can make the case that the Saints can win this division again. They've owned it for the last half decade. They swept it last year. And I'm not telling – I mean, look, we're pumping sunshine. It's the preseason. We thought it looked good against the Jags, but is there any chance they can win the division?
Yeah, hey, there's a chance. I mean, there's always a chance. But to the way I look at it is, would I lay some money down on that? I would probably say no. Obviously, if something happens to Tom Brady, then that division is just wide open. But if 12 is back there for the Bucs, that's who I lay my $100 down on. And I think the Saints have so many issues that they need to get figured out going into the season. I'm not confident in how they're going to address those: defensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver. If the younger guys step up, then yeah, they'll be right in it because they do have other guys on that roster. They do have a talented roster. You look at that offensive line, you look at Kamara, you look at some of the guys they have on that defense. They do still have talent on that roster. But to say that they're better than the Bucs or they're going to win more games than the Bucs this season, I think that's a heavy task.
So we'll start at the bottom of the division. Pretty easy. The Falcons last year were a 4-12 team, and you look at their roster for this year. You know, they bring in Kyle Pitts, but Julio's out the door. And, you know, you figure that's another weapon for Matt Ryan. Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage is making some plays. But they are what they were last year. Alex Mack's out the door. Do I see them making a jump from 4 wins to 12 to go 13 wins this year? I don't scare the Falcons don't scare me at all. So is there any reason to believe in the Falcons?
No, I don't think so. I mean, unless their defense – I honestly think their offense is going to be decent with Matt Ryan back there. They're going to be throwing the ball an awful lot. They're going to be, probably behind in a lot of games. I think their offense can score some points. You add Kyle Pitts, my boy Russell Gage, Redemptress alum out there, going to have a breakout season. But I think their question is their defense. If their defense can get stops, I think they can be competitive.
Yeah, well, they allowed 400 yards a game last year for 29th in the league. So I think we can rule out that the Falcons are a serious threat for this division. Then you start with the Panthers. That's a 5-11 team from last year. They bring in Darnold, and McCaffrey's back, which clearly is going to help them. But I don't see the huge jump they're going to make here unless you think that Sam Darnold's going to come in there with Joe Brady and start slinging around. The wide receiver core is very good. Yeah. I'll give them that. And McCaffrey can play, so maybe they score some points. But the defense, again, was lower half of the league last year. And I don't know that that's going to be an awesome football team.
Yeah, when you lose Luke Kuechly, and it seems like they haven't replaced that yet, and their defense hasn't looked the same since he left there. So I think they got to figure that out for sure. I know they got my boy Dante Jackson back there picking plays off and making plays. Hopefully Terrace Marshall can do the same next season. But, yeah, I'm right with you on the Panthers right now. I don't think they're going to make any noise in that division.
So then you get to the Bucs, and that's clearly the Super Bowl champs. But just 11-5 last year. It wasn't like you're talking about a 15-1 team that blitzed in a wild card last year. Yeah. It took a while for Brady to click with those guys. We know that. But we also know, and no matter what, he is 42, 3 years old. We've seen a 40-plus-year-old quarterback in New Orleans the last 2 years, and what happened? He missed time. And Sean Payton found a way to go to Teddy Bridgewater, to go to Taysom Hill, and keep the thing afloat and win the division. Do you believe Blaine Gabbert has that ability?
It depends on who they're playing. If they're playing the Falcons, yeah. If they're playing the Panthers, yeah. I think there's certain teams, because that, to me, that's probably the most stacked roster in all of football. They got so much talent on both sides of the ball. They're deep at receiver, deep at tight end, deep at running back, deep on the defensive line. They got defensive backs. I mean, you really, I try to look for concerns. You really can't find much with the Bucs. Really just staying healthy. If they stay healthy, that team is going to win a lot of football games this year. So with them, I think that's what it's going to boil down to. And I think the way they ended the season last year, they went on a tear. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon.
Brady gets all the pub because he's Brady, and we get that. But the strength of that team is really the defensive front. And it's the reason they beat the Chiefs is because they just terrorized Mahomes and Kansas City's poor offensive line, which they've shored up. Couldn't hold them, couldn't deal with them. Well, what's this? The Saints are the best offensive line in the league, and they beat the Bucs twice. And it wasn't like they got dusted in the playoffs. It's fair to believe that the Saints could beat the Bucs at home. Fair to believe they could go out there and win. Now, you're going to have to get Jameis playing at a top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league, probably, to make this happen. But statistically, we know the stats, the 30 touchdowns, the 5,000 yards, all that if you limit mistakes and create some things with the playmakers that he's going to have, assuming Thomas comes back and can function, I think they can play with the Bucs.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a division opponent. They played them well year in and year out. It's a lot of the same guys returning. I will not disagree with that. But if you ask me to pick the division winner, I still feel good in the Bucs. But the Saints are definitely going to be competitive. That offensive line is too stacked. Love what they're doing on the defensive end. But the Bucs have so many receivers. With these lack of defensive backs right now, something tells me Tom's going to be throwing that ball all over the yard.
You look at the schedule, and the Saints and Bucs don't play their first game until Halloween. That's in New Orleans, and then they play again in December. Pretty reasonable to believe that Matt Lattimore would be back by Halloween?
Yeah, I think so.
He's owned Evans.
Yeah.
And so that's a big deal when you're facing that Bucs offense. You know, I'm just trying to make the case.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make the case.
I'm with you.
It's been a situation where the beginning of camp was terrible, and there were injuries and suspensions and things just weren't working out. But it looks like some guys have kind of come on and made some waves. Again, we may find out when the Saints start 0-3 that some of these guys that are making waves against the Jags in preseason or making plays in practice can't really do it. But I think the notion that the Saints are an under 500 team and the Bucs going to run away with the division is plausible, but I don't know if it's probable at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to go down to Jameis taking care of the ball. I like their defense. They play fast. They play aggressive. It's going to be tough with New Orleans back with those full pack crowds and making that noise and really making that home field advantage. I think the Saints are going to be better than you think. But I'll tell you one thing. If Jameis can take care of that ball, he looked really good. I think they can win a lot more games than people think.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. This is difficult. You try not to do this in radio, but we have not rehearsed this. Going into the season, all things considered, that includes age as one of them, how many quarterbacks would you take over Tom Brady entering this season? Mahomes?
Man, this is going to sound so Homer-based, but with the roster he has, I'm not taking no one over Tommy right now. I'm not taking anyone. And I think everyone say Mahomes can throw it farther, Rodgers can do this. But to me, you said it the other day, the best decision-making is the best thing a quarterback has to offer. And Tom, there's no one better at making decisions than that dude. He knows exactly where to go with the ball. And then you give him a stacked roster with position out. You go O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, you got Mike Evans, A.B., Chris Godwin. Now you bring in Giovanni Bernard. Now you got Leonard Fournette. Playoff Lenny. Come on, man. And his offensive line is stacked. So give him that situation. I don't want any other quarterback with that but Tom Brady.
You're hurting my case. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, if you put Mahomes in that offense or Rodgers in that offense, they're going to probably do similar things. But to me, Tom's clicking on another level right now. He sees some things that can be unattainable, and I know he wants to accomplish those. So I'm going to roll with Tommy B, man.
Well, Saints fans, I really tried. I gave you everything I had, and Jeremy just said, no, their offense is too good. Their quarterback's the best in the league. Their defense is awesome, and the Saints can't win. You heard it here first. Jeremy said you can't win.
Hey, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But look, I'm telling y'all, the Bucs are not to be played with this season.
I kind of agree with that, but I think there's a reasonable case. All right, let's come back and close it out. It's Hunt and Hill.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my four boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Includes golf at the David Toms Design Carter Plantation Golf Course. You're going to love our new golf cart fleet provided by EasyGo that features built-in Pace Technology GPS with all the bells and whistles. For more information, call 225-414-0680 or go to thevillas@carterplantation.com.
Rebel Graphics, where decals,
banners,
signs, prints,
stamps, vehicle wraps, partnerships
matter. Rebel Graphics, where you matter. Rebel Graphics with an X.
Hey, Baton Rouge, it's Peter Burns. Join me and Katie George every Sunday morning at 6 for Best Week Ever right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Insurance companies know who Peyton Murphy is and know he will fight for maximum value for your injury. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Coming up on a Thursday edition of Early Line, we look ahead to the weekend's action, including Week 0 in college football and the final weekend of preseason in the NFL. Join us from 2 to 3 p.m. Early Line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
From the Goldman. Goldman scores. Howard with time. Once wide in the end zone. Touchdown West Virginia.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing up shop, Thursday edition of Hunt and Hill. One more show to go before we are in football season next week. We're fired up to crank that up, but we'll get this thing finished out strong. And we'll finish up today with some take it or leave it. I'll start. Kevin Seifert from ESPN.com says that Joe Burrow may be the most worried quarterback in the NFL. You taking or leaving Joey B being the most worried QB in the league?
Man, Joey B has too much swag to be worried about a thing, man. Come on, what is this guy thinking, man? It's Joey B we're talking about. I think he's got to have a great bounce-back season. I know how hard he works. He has the receivers and running backs to do it. I'm excited to see him bounce back.
Just coming off that injury, you just wonder where his head is about getting hit. You don't ever have to deal with that in practice. And so you get out there in the preseason. Apparently things didn't go so hot at the beginning of camp, but he and Jamar, I think, will figure it out. So I'll go ahead and leave that one too.
All right, I got this one. Rory McIlroy says he's mentally and physically exhausted from the tour. Are you taking or leaving golfers should be getting tired on the tour?
I'll take it at this point in the schedule. They've been playing for a long time, and he's played a lot of weeks in a row. Now they're into the playoffs, so you got to continue to play through the Tour Championship if you keep qualifying. Plus, he's got the Ryder Cup coming up for Team Europe. I could do a whole show on that. But no, it's just the travel, the grind, the media sessions, the pro-ams, the playoffs. It's a tough deal for those guys. I realize that everybody that's listening to this show would trade their job to go play golf every day, but I do think that you'd like a week off. This part of the schedule just doesn't allow for it, so I'll take it.
Got you.
All right.
I'll take it.
The Bucks extend Coach Budenholzer big contract extension. Bucks going to go back-to-back next year. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that, man. You already know who I'm picking to win it all next year.
You are pitiful. Can you just for 1 second not pick your team to win?
I got to, man. I got to. I actually think if I had to lay some money down, like I always say, I'd probably put some on the Nets. But no, I think the Bucks got lucky with injuries last season. I think it was a great run from Giannis, but I think if everyone's healthy, there's no way the Bucks win it last year.
It's a good feel-good story at the very least. Yeah. They probably won't go back-to-back. You figure the Bucks are better on paper. I don't even know what LeBron's squad's got, but it was a good story on paper for a guy to stick to a small market and get it done. Injuries or not, I don't see anybody ripping Alabama's championship trophy off the shelf because Colt McCoy got hurt. It is what it is.
I got you. Pac-12 commissioner to rule on expansion this week. You taking or leaving? They put their brains together and create a alliance with the Big Ten.
I mean, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I just don't know what an alliance means at this point because they don't know what it means. I thought what it meant. My thought may be wrong because they got in front of microphones and didn't know what the hell was going on. So it's a tough scene for those commissioners at this point because they got in front of microphones with no real concrete idea. But eventually they're going to have to figure it out because that's just the way college football is going. All right, Brian Harsin, Auburn head coach, who's trying to instill a blue-collar, workman-like atmosphere, has put a sign on the elevator that says, "For injured players only. Everyone else will be taking the stairs." Take it or leave it. That's a great approach in your first year.
Oh, I'm going to leave it, man. I'm going to leave that. These coaches got it. I mean, I guess they're trying to change the culture and do all these things, but come on, man. Let the kids take the elevator. Come on. All right, I got another one for you. All right, we got to go. Steve Shooker says Brian DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka will put their difference in size for the Ryder Cup. You take it or leave it. Those two can get along and make their Ryder Cup work.
I'm leaving this one. They really don't like each other. I think that there's an element of it that's for theater because they get this PIP money that is, if you create the most social media impressions, you get $10 million. So some of it I think is manufactured, but they actually don't like each other because they're so different. Brooks is the cool jock who wants to sound cool and laissez-faire, and I don't really care about golf. I don't practice. I can beat all these guys. And Bryson's an intense, for lack of a better term, nerd with poor people skills and social awareness. And Bryson's not equipped to handle with Brooks's attacks, and so it doesn't work. And now it's gone on so long, they're not going to be buddies at the Ryder Cup. It's not going to happen. Now they're not going to play together because that'd be a disaster. And it breaks my heart that we got to send two people out there that truly dislike each other because what we have, what the Euros had that we don't have, is the camaraderie, and they rely on analytics. And we've just kind of gone out there and said we're going to hit it 340 yards and try to win tournaments, and we lose time and time and time again. But no, I'm leaving that. I don't believe those two guys are going to bury the hatchet anytime soon.
All right, one more here. All right, Kyle Shanahan refuses to admit his week 1 starter for the NFL season for the San Francisco 49ers. You taking or leaving Jimmy G will be start week 1.
I just think it's so much easier to start Garoppolo. He's proven he can do it. They've been one of the best teams in the league with him at quarterback. They've got a really good roster. It's not like they're starting over or he's trying to save his job. There's no real extenuating circumstance. So, I'll take that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the week 1 starter for the 49ers. If you put Lance out there, heck, the guy's playing pretty good in the preseason, but I think the easy one is to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think that's the right decision as well. Anytime a quarterback gets your team to a Super Bowl, you kind of want to give them another chance to do that. Obviously, they felt really great about Trey Lance. That's why they drafted him so high, but I definitely leave Jimmy G in there, let him be the bridge. If he doesn't get the job done, then you definitely roll Trey Lance out there.
Shout out to Shay Dixon, 247, great friend of mine, soon to be on the show. Sent me a text that said they have to take the stairs to the portal too, because that's where his players are going to be headed if you keep acting like this. I would tend to agree. You got to treat these guys like men at a certain point. Telling everybody you can't use the elevator, we're going to be blue collar is kind of dumb. But look, sometimes football players do crazy things. What was your takeaway from the show today?
I was good, man. I think the highlight was having Russ on, just talking about his journey. Obviously, being one of the number 1 players in the country, obviously highly recruited, highly touted, and just have that journey. Obviously, not playing as much as he would have liked to his last 2 years at LSU, and then just continuing to battle and create a 7-year NFL career. I think that's a beautiful thing to see, and that was probably my highlight of the show.
If you missed that interview, go back and listen to it. It's 14 minutes, I think. It's going to be on demand, 1045ESPN.com, right here on YouTube. Once we wrap up, you can go back and look at it. It was really good. It was the enlightening thing for me was him being the ambassador to LSU, being a guy that hosted a lot of people on visits, yourself included. That was really, really cool to hear him talk about that, and then talk about his position shift. And was there a play in the playbook for him to throw the football? He said there was. They just never called it. All right, what do we got tomorrow, Jay Hill?
Oh, yeah, man. We got my boy Joseph Faria, former NFL player, played for the Detroit Lions, and a former UCLA Bruin. So we'll see how he's feeling about his UCLA Bruins next week. And, of course, our fantasy football expert, Lisa Ann, joins the show again tomorrow to get you guys fantasy lineups ready to go. So I'll be excited. Also, Zach Van Rosenberg is joining the show, too. So that'll be good to have him on as well.
Going to come in for a couple segments. Zach has done a great job with Matt in the afternoons doing some practice reports. We want to get his idea. There may be a little bit of a competition in the punting room from what I'm told. Avery Atkins making a push at Peyton Todd, the freshman. So we'll see. We want to get Zach's thoughts on that. Again, you can find everything on demand, 1045ESPN.com. We had in the first hour, Russell Shepard came on to join us. I talked about some of the things that stood out in the Ed Ogeron show. We've started this hour off with Throwback Thursday. That's presented every week by AccuTemp. Want to go check that out. It was the 2004 LSU-Oregon State game. Slip and slides, streakers, championship coronations, thunderstorms, starters being benched, missed extra points, overtime, the whole works. It's there. Then Justin Vincent rejoined us to talk about his experience in that game. That's just going to just about do it for us here on a Thursday. Thanks so much to Mike Patel and Taylor Sharp for keeping us on time and keeping us looking pretty. Matt Moscona will drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Jimmy Ott, 6 to 8 on Game Time. I believe Charlie's in for him tonight. And then next, coming up at your early line with Musso and Mario.